And to be quite honest with you, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with Sue Bird.
After the current decline in viewership and waning interest in the WNBA, Sue Bird has come full circle in her comments about Caitlin Clark. If you're enjoying this content, consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers still haven't subscribed. It's completely free and only takes a second, but it truly helps support the channel. So have you subscribed yet? If you have, thank you so much for your continued support. Now, let's get back to the video.
This is what we want. Instead, we're still getting bullshit on viewership.
Stephen A. Smith was not going to sit around and allow Caitlin Clark be hated on. Stephen had supported Caitlin throughout the season, and he wasn't going to stop. Now, things became quite tasty between the two.
What do you mean ESPN? So because I work at my day job on ESPN, I'm supposed to ignore the fact?
Sue Bird objected to Stephen pointing out that there's a decline in viewing and that no one is particularly interested in watching the WNBA finals.
Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product that ESPN
that they invest in?
Yeah, that's where these viewership numbers are coming. Yeah, it's a business you're in. It's not that they can't. And by the way, it's not that they can't be critical of certain things. They can have their opinions. But that's where I don't understand the frame.
Even though Stephen is employed by ESPN, he nevertheless expresses his genuine thoughts about current events. The WNBA has been having trouble keeping the same numbers without Caitlin, who is a tremendous draw. Sue Bird thinks that even if stadiums are still packed and masses are still attending, ticket prices have drastically decreased, which is why fans are still watching. Paying $10 for a playoff game ticket is absurd. But do we really think the WNBA would sell tickets for the same amount if Caitlin were playing? Obviously not.
Tickets at the Target Center in Minnesota selling for as low as $10.
Sue Bird, a WNBA legend and one of the most well-known figures in women's basketball, has recently been embroiled in an unexpected and intense controversy. It all started when Bird allegedly blamed Caitlin Clark for the recent decline in WNBA playoff ratings and ticket sales. Many were surprised by Bird's remarks because Clark's influence on the sport has been widely acknowledged for drawing significant attention.
Shannon Sharp starts to talk about the attendance and says, like, basically that Caitlin had the highest attendance in the playoffs, which Caitlin Clark played her first 2 rounds in Connecticut, which only holds roughly 10,000, and they got swept, so they never made it back to Cambridge in Indiana to play a home game. So they absolutely did not have the highest.
Bird, a longtime advocate for growth and resilience of the WNBA, felt that Smith's remarks painted the league in an unfairly negative light. In her view, it undermined the collective effort of the players and the league's development over the years. Bird was quick to push back against this narrative, determined to protect the image of the WNBA and assert that it could thrive beyond one player's impact. Sue Bird's frustration wasn't solely directed at Stephen A. Smith. She also took aim at Shannon Sharp, who had similarly highlighted the massive attention Caitlin Clark had brought to women's basketball. Both Smith and Sharp had been vocal in their praise of Clark, repeatedly acknowledging her as a key reason for the surge in viewership and interest in the sport. However, for Bird, this focus on Clark felt like it was undermining the WNBA's broader efforts. Bird, as a longtime advocate for women's basketball, was adamant that the league's growth should not be tied to one player, believing that it could thrive through collective efforts rather than individual star power alone.
There is a Caitlin Clark effect on all of basketball, and especially on women's basketball ratings. Kudos to her. She has elevated an entire sport in viewership.
However, it is difficult to ignore the reality of the situation. Caitlin Clark's outstanding college basketball performances garnered unprecedented attention, and many hoped that this momentum would carry over to the WNBA playoffs. Without Clark, the WNBA faced a significant challenge in maintaining the excitement and fan engagement she had generated. The league found itself in a difficult situation, scrambling to figure out how to fill the void left by her absence and maintain the same level of interest.
With Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlin and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said that Caitlin wasn't going to be a marketing gem, a unicorn.
One of the ways the WNBA addressed the decline in interest was by lowering ticket prices for playoff games. Fans soon noticed that without Caitlin Clark's presence, ticket prices dropped significantly, a clear indication that the league was trying to fill seats. On the surface, it appeared that the WNBA was successfully selling out games and maintaining strong attendance. But the reality was more complicated. The decision to lower ticket prices was a deliberate strategy to avoid the embarrassment of empty arenas during important matchups, but it concealed the true level of fan interest.
You guys take a look at the stands. All the seats, even the courtside seats, are empty.
The numbers, however, tell a different story. Without the buzz and excitement that Caitlin Clark consistently brought to the game, the WNBA has struggled to generate the same level of interest from fans. Sue Bird's initial support of Caitlin Clark's impact on the sport has made her recent comments all the more surprising. When Clark first burst onto the scene, Bird was among the first to acknowledge her immense potential to revolutionize women's basketball. This change in approach suggests Bird is more concerned with protecting the league's long-term image.
Into the Liberty Games. They're full. It looks full in Vegas. It looks full every single place that you go. TD Garden sold out when Caitlin wasn't playing there for a regular season.
It's now evident that Caitlin Clark's ability to draw significant attention to women's basketball has made her both a hero and, in some circles, a target. This is a common occurrence for athletes who become well-known quickly. While some fans applaud Clark's rapid rise, others see her success as a challenge to the status quo. Sheryl Swoopes, another WNBA legend, has also voiced conflicting opinions about Clark's influence.
Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely.
Without players like Caitlin Clark, the league finds it difficult to sustain the same level of fan engagement and enthusiasm. Although the WNBA has made significant progress in recent years in growing its fan base and visibility, it still faces major challenges in attracting widespread attention and consistent support. Caitlin Clark represented a rare phenomenon, an athlete whose talent and personality transcended the sport, drawing in viewers who might not normally follow women's basketball.
People stick around and want to watch the others. A rising tide lifts all boats, which is what we were saying, both Shannon Sharpe and myself, when we addressed that issue. Why would you say a quote like that? We work for ESPN, so I'm supposed to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the facts? That ain't what we...
Her ability to captivate casual fans brought a surge of interest that the league has struggled to replicate. Now, in her absence, the WNBA finds itself grappling with how to maintain that momentum as it navigates the challenge of sustaining the excitement Clark generated and filling the gap left by her star power. For her part, Caitlin Clark has remained focused on her game, consistently performing at an elite level. Despite the growing attention surrounding her as her star continues to rise, it has become increasingly difficult to ignore the growing number of detractors, for reasons ranging from jealousy to insecurity. Some individuals inevitably push back against an athlete who appears to have it all: a meteoric rise, fan admiration, and undeniable talent.
We're going to see WNBA playoff viewership down now that Caitlin is out. And is that somewhat factually accurate? Yes. It's not accurate. Viewership numbers with Caitlin Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw.
Yeah.
She brings in all the things. We know this.
Despite her enormously beneficial influence on the sport, Clark has had her fair share of detractors and critics. These detractors often seem more concerned with tearing down her success than acknowledging the attention and excitement she has brought to women's basketball. Still, Clark has managed to stay focused on her performance, navigating the pressure and criticism with grace as she continues to elevate her game and the sport overall. What's particularly frustrating about the situation is that the criticism aimed at Caitlin Clark doesn't appear to be rooted in anything she's actually done wrong. On the contrary, her remarkable popularity has brought more eyes to women's basketball and helped elevate the entire WNBA in the process. Clark's stellar performances and magnetic personality have not only drawn in new fans, but have also sparked fresh conversations about the future of the sport. Yet rather than receiving universal praise for these accomplishments, Clark has been met with skepticism and, in some cases, outright hostility from certain quarters. To many, this backlash feels unjustified, as Clark has done nothing but excel and promote the game, bringing the spotlight that the league has long sought.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way.
This pattern of tearing down successful female athletes is nothing new, but it's particularly disappointing in the context of women's basketball, a sport that is still striving for mainstream recognition and respect. Caitlin Clark has the potential to be a transformative figure in the game, much like Michael Jordan or LeBron James were for the NBA, with the ability to attract fans and elevate the sport to new heights. However, rather than rallying around her and capitalizing on the momentum she brings, some within the WNBA appear hesitant to fully embrace what Clark represents. This reluctance to support her stardom speaks to deeper insecurities within the sport, where groundbreaking success is sometimes met with resistance. For Sue Bird, the tension is clear. On one hand, Bird has always been an advocate for the WNBA's success and wants the league to thrive whether Caitlin Clark is part of it or not. She understands that for the WNBA to be sustainable long-term, it needs to be seen as strong and vibrant beyond just one standout player. Though it's hard to deny that a large portion of the league's recent success is directly related to Clark's capacity to draw viewers. Bird's public annoyance with pundits like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp probably stems from a desire to keep the WNBA from being seen as unduly reliant on Clark.
Regardless of whatever noise has been out there. So when you show that you're able to perform in the face of adversity, to me, that is the true testament.
The WNBA is currently having difficulty maintaining its position in the highly competitive sports world without Caitlin Clark. The league's decision to lower ticket prices during playoff games is a clear indication that it is aware of this challenge, even if it isn't publicly acknowledging it. By lowering prices, the league was able to keep arenas fuller, but it's obvious that this strategy is a short-term solution rather than a long-term one. Despite the data to the contrary, the WNBA continues to promote the idea that it can succeed without Clark.
All I know, when they got eliminated from the playoffs, the attendance dropped. Right. The ratings drop. If the WNBA is more, it is, and I get it. Why aren't people watching?
Attendance and viewership have notably dipped since Clark's absence, highlighting her immense value to the league's success. The challenge moving forward will be how the WNBA can maintain fan interest and generate similar excitement when Clark isn't in the spotlight. Without players of her caliber, the league must find innovative ways to keep fans engaged and the sport relevant. Figures like Cheryl Swoops and, more recently, potentially Sue Bird have raised concerns about the level of attention Clark is receiving, even though her skyrocketing popularity has helped elevate the league as a whole. Instead of celebrating Clark's success and her ability to draw attention to women's basketball, some within the sport seem threatened by her rise, questioning whether one player should command so much focus. It underscores a broader tension about balancing individual stardom with the league's collective growth.
You had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because.
Ultimately, Caitlin Clark is doing nothing but good for the WNBA. She has attracted new fans, significantly increased viewership, and created excitement around women's basketball in ways the league has never experienced before.
Play Caitlin Clark, like what was your adjustment to her? Because that's really like on some Steph Curry type of adjustment.
No, Caitlin is tough. She's good as advertised. I mean, in the WNBA, like they saying she's struggling and stuff like that, right? She had 20 points in her debut, 10 turnovers, but like, I mean, if you have 20 points in your debut and that's a bad game, then like...
That's considered a bad game. That's heavy, bro.
What does a good game look like? You know what I'm saying? So playing against Caitlin Clark, like, she's really that dude.
I feel like the pressure on her is on some LeBron drafted into the NBA type of pressure. Like
the pressure is definitely
the pressure is there. Like even if she do one wrong thing, the clips is gonna be wrong.
Hopefully, as time goes on, more people will realize how much Caitlin Clark has contributed to the WNBA. The league's recent struggles without her should serve as a wake-up call to anyone who doubted her significance. Without Clark, the WNBA simply doesn't have the same level of excitement, energy, or viewership, which should prompt serious reflection within the sport. It's time for everyone, including fans, players, and commentators, to fully acknowledge how vital she is to the future of women's basketball. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and enable all notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.